Welcome back everybody to West Explains Best. Today we're going to be doing a Khan Academy tutorial on graphing from linear standard form. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. Many people are familiar with slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Standard form is when you have x and y on the same side of the equal sign with no fractions. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, in order to solve for this equation, and to graph it appropriately, we're going to have to find what's called the X-intercept and the Y-intercept. You're probably familiar with the Y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. As you can see, as it's graphed right now, it's right there. But the X-intercept, it's not talked about as often in earlier algebra, is where it crosses the x-axis. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to do both those things. Now, as you can see here, just like a preface of why we're finding this x-intercept and this y-intercept is because we have two dots here. Why do we need two dots? Well, if we only have one dot, we can't tell which way the line goes. It can go in a variety of different directions. But if we have 2 points on a line, we know exactly where it goes. So what we need is we need 2 points, and the easiest way to do that is to find an x-intercept and a y-intercept. Okay. Now let's go ahead and find our x-intercept. How do we find an x-intercept? Well, if we're looking for where it crosses the x-axis, we need to understand what our y value is. Our y value along this line is 0. Okay, so y equals 0 everywhere along that line. So if we're trying to find the x-intercept, what we're going to do is we're going to plug in, here's my plug-in, 0 for y, and we're going to see what we get for x. Let's go ahead and demonstrate what that looks like. So if we just copy down the equation, notice how I left the x by itself, plus 6 times, and then I'm put in parentheses because I'm going to be plugging in that 0 value for y, and then that's equal to 18. So then I have negative 9x equals 18, divided by negative 9 to both sides. I'm going to get x equals negative 2. Now, that's my x-intercept. So that is where it's going to cross my x-axis. So if I plug a point here, it's going to be right here. That's the point, negative 2, comma, and what did I plug in for y? I plugged in 0. So that's my point. That's one of my points. So if I go back to this little thing, I know that I need to go to negative 2. Now I have to find my y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? Oh, let me transfer this up here. X-intercept negative 2. I'm going to do the exact same thing, but now I'm going to try to find where it crosses the y-axis. Now, how do I do that? Well, what is the value of x anywhere it touches the y-axis? X always equals 0. Okay, we don't go left, we don't go right. We're exactly in the middle. So we're going to find the y-intercept by plugging in 0 for x into our equation and then solving for y. Essentially the exact opposite. So we're going to write negative 9, and now I'm going to put parentheses, plus 6y equals 18. This time I'm plugging in a 0 for x, and now I'm solving. So I have 6y equals 18 divided by 6 divided by 6. I get y equals 3. So y equals 3 is my y-intercept. Where is that? Well, that is the point here. Okay, and well, how we write that is we write 0, because we plugged in 0 for x, comma 3. And that's my second point, 0, comma 3. And we check it, and it's going to check out. Okay, we got another one. We have 12x minus 9y equals 36. I'm going to go a little bit faster just so you can see how I do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find my, let's start with the y-intercept this time. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. I'm going to go 12 times 0 minus 9y equals 36. A trick to remember what you're doing for the y-intercept is you want the y there. If you're solving for the y-intercept, you need to have a y there, and you can't have an x, okay? So that's why you plug in the 0 for x and not y. That's a common mistake I see people do, is they're finding the y-intercept and they plug in 0 for y. No. We want the y there. So this becomes 0 minus 9y equals 36. We divide by negative 9 to both sides, and we get y equals -4. So our y-intercept is right there. Let's jump to our x-intercept. Plug in 0 for what now? We're going to plug it in for y. So 9 times 0 equals 36. We get 12x equals 36. We get, after divide by 12, we get x equals 3. Sorry, that's one ugly looking 12. We get x equals 3. So x equals 3 is here. That's the positive 3 on the x-axis. And that should be good. So we have -4 and then 3. -4. So 0, -4, and then 3, 0. Check that out. Next one. Okay, same process. Okay, let's go x first this time. We're going to go 5x plus 3 times 0 equals 15. Essentially what you can do is you can cover up, if you're looking for the x-intercept, you can just cover up the y term because you're going to be plugging in 0. So we are always going to get 5x equals 15, x equals 3. So it's going to be right there. And then y, we're going to cover up the x essentially because it's going to be multiplied by 0. So we get 3y equals 15. Divide by 3, y equals positive 5. Okay, so we have positive, this is the point 0, 5, and then we have 3, 0. So 5 for the y-intercept, 3 for the x-intercept. Check it out. Here we go. And last but not least, okay, let's cover up the y. For the x-intercept, we have 3x equals 12, divided by 3, x equals 4. Okay, let me erase this. For the y-intercept, we're going to cover up the x. Goes to 0, plug in 0, 4y equals 12. We get y equals 3. So x equals 4, y equals 3, and there you go. So one click clarification before I hit show summary. If you get both points at 0, 0, so let's say you get y equals 0 and you get x equals 0, well, you can't form a line with just one point. So this is where you plug in any value for either x or y to see what you get for x. For example, if you were to plug in, I don't know, let's think of an example. If you were to plug in -1 let's plug in -2 for x. So you would say, hey, I want to know where the graph is at -2. You'd go 3 times -2 plus 4y equals 12. So you get -6 plus 4y equals 12. Then you get 4y equals, what is that, 18? And you divide by 4, and you get y equals 9/2. So that would be another point, and you would connect that with the other point. But that's only when you get both the x and y-intercept at 0. You just look for another point. So I just wanted to mention that just in case you get that problem. But if you follow these instructions, you should hear that sound. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.